Enter the Matrix set the standard for what it meant to develop a video game tie-in for a film or TV property, and the Wachowskis were ahead of their time in creating a game that built upon the world of the movies without being redundant. Let's break down everything about the game, including the background, critical reception, and legacy on the gaming industry. As always, all the original sources will be linked down below, so make sure to check those out and support those writers. And with that out of the way, let's get into Enter the Matrix. Enter the Matrix was developed by Shiny Entertainment, who had previously worked on Earthworm Jim 1 and 2, which became instant hits in the gaming community. They then went on to make a few other games such as MDK, Wild 9, and Messiah that all varied in success. But in the early 2000s, Shiny Entertainment was chosen as the developer who got to work on Enter the Matrix, which was a highly sought after property following the release of the first movie. Shiny Entertainment founder David Perry reflected on this decision and gave his best attempt at understanding why the Wachowskis chose his studio to work on their game. He said, quote, "I think like you, the Wachowskis really liked MDK, and we were huge fans of their work too. As you can imagine, I was competing with every major publisher to get the rights." But even the Wachowskis had been interested in working with Shiny Entertainment and David Perry before their work on Enter the Matrix. The game studio was originally approached by the Wachowskis with storyboards from the original Matrix movie, and were asked if his team would be interested in making a video game tie-in for the first movie, which Perry famously denied. Years later, when he saw the first Matrix in theaters and realized how good the movie was, he knew that he had made a massive mistake by turning them down, and thought The Matrix was just going to be another hacker movie. And other studios and individuals were approached during that time to work on the first Matrix game after the failed meeting with Perry. It was also well known that the Wachowskis met with Bungie and Hideo Kojima, but nothing ended up coming out of these meetings. Following the release of the first movie, the Wachowskis called Perry again and asked if he would reconsider their deal and would want to work on the game for the sequel. And this time around, he didn't make the same mistake and said he would work on a game for their upcoming movie. The Wachowskis said this game would be a video game tie-in for the film, and the deal was signed in 2001 and work was started on the game. Now, they were given a pretty quick turnaround because they wanted the movie and game to launch within the same time frame, and the movie was launching in 2003, which means that the game had to be done in 2003 and development wasn't started until 2001. So it was a very quick time frame for them to get all these assets and really make the game they wanted to make. And development went on until 2002 when David Perry sold the studio to Infogrames at $47 million. And when he sold the studio, it included the rights to the Matrix game. Development did not change at all, and most of the leadership and developers stayed in the exact same place, so it stayed on track for their tight time frame for completion. Also in 2002, the game was the cover of Game Informer and gave us the first real details about the game, including screenshots. It was also when the game was first considered multiplayer. The quote said, "If you want to take a break from the quest, Shiny has also included a dojo that can be used for sparring against a friend." And a lot of the features, screenshots, and everything from the game started to get fans hyped up even back then. The game also had a lot of help from the original team that worked on the movies through the development. The game had Don Davis, the composer of the movies, also make the music for the game. The developers themselves were also flying to Australia to visit the set for the movie so they could understand the areas and replicate them in-game. The game itself was written and directed by the Wachowskis and was meant to take place at the same time as The Matrix Reloaded, concurrently. To go along with this, the Wachowskis also shot almost an hour's worth of additional footage for the game, with all the original actors who were in this story, and they even used the 35mm film, same as the movies. And as I said, the story follows parallel to the story of The Matrix Reloaded, which is why some characters are in and out, but why the main characters aren't seen too much. And this footage was later added in to special versions of the film and re-releases, so it's still out there and people have uploaded it all to YouTube if you want to watch that. And then the game launched in May 2003, and they hit their time frame, and it was released the same week as The Matrix Reloaded. Then we saw the game followed Niobe and Ghost throughout their journey in this world, and the game itself was released to mixed critical reviews. They cited weird camera angles, mediocre graphics, bad controls, and critics were especially harsh over the main characters. But that did not stop fans from loving this game and making it a big hit for the studio, and word of mouth was a great asset for the sales of this game. The game sold 1 million copies after 1 week on the market, and sold 5 million in its first year after release. So it obviously was a big hit for the studio. They ended up going on to work on Path of Neo, once again with the Wachowskis, and continued their work on the Matrix series. One other thing that I thought was interesting about this game was the use of cheats or hacks in the game, which was the only way to actually access the multiplayer fighting function in-game. Also, it was only accessible through console and through hacking the main menu. There were a lot of other hacks as well and cheats that would change how the game was played and abilities and how the enemies would work. It was an interesting hidden detail that many people might not have even noticed as they played through multiple times. And for the most part, that is what happened to Enter the Matrix. The Matrix brand and fans were enough to make the game sell great and push through the negative reviews from critics. The game to this day still has a strong fan base and is still considered one of the strongest video game movie tie-ins. That's where I'm going to end this video. Make sure to like and share, subscribe for weekly gaming videos, and I will see you guys in the next one.